Good afternoon and welcome to FJ Holden Drive Talking. I'm Jules Knight, and today I'd like to talk about the electrical part of your car or parts thereof. We recently had a subscriber reach out to us and say, "Oh, Jules, my car's not starting. I've just had it repainted. I've got it back from the panel beaters, and it's just not turning over." And so I was going through with him some of the problems that it could be. And what it turned out was they just put too much paint on all of the earthing points of the car. And once he was able to, get a little bit of sandpaper and sand the earthing pieces, where the earthing straps bolted to the car, well, then it was a case of the car was able to make a full circuit and the starter motor would actually work. But what I've done recently is when I was at the Toowoomba swap meet, I saw a fellow from Melbourne who had a vintage wiring harness business there, and he had the positive cable that I could buy. So I bought a nice big sturdy one, because you find with a lot of FJs, they just get two normal battery cables and they run them positive and negative straight from the battery down to the starter motor, and that's it. There might be the earth at the back of the motor where the gearbox is to the chassis. However, really the Holden engineers knew what they were talking about, and I know power cables are replaced because of frustration. And I have been in FJ Holdens that have been terrible to start. So what I did with Kenny was I said, okay, you need a really good positive lead. So clean your battery terminal, get a new battery lead, and go from there to your starter motor. Now the other point is, the wire that goes actually onto the solenoid. You need to not only sandpaper that, but also clean out the input of where the wire gets connected into the starter motor before it's screwed down into place, and so that gets this part done and dusted. Now then, the next bit, I said to him, you need a decent earth strap. Now, and I got I've had so many times we've got the the battery cable that goes to the starter motor. Well, this is the type that went from the battery straight to the apron panel. Just earth straight away there. So if you've got a decent battery, decent positive, decent negative, you got good earths here, well, you shouldn't have real problems. So positive cable, negative cable. Just make sure everything's nice and clean. You won't have any problems. And then, as I said to Kenny, I said, don't forget you've also got a cable at the back. Now this is a blank, and they've tinned both ends to keep all the strands that are braided together. And it's good that they do that. So you really need to make sure that's clean. The gearbox where it hooks onto is clean. The part that hooks onto the gearbox where the bolt goes through to get that connection is bare and clean, and the same where it connects onto the chassis, because that's really helping to complete the negative part of the circuit, because you're getting your positive from your battery to your starter motor, and then you're getting the negative from your battery to the apron panel, but you've also got this earth grounding from your gearbox, because we've all been in FJ Holdens that are hot on a summer's day and you're driving to Melbourne to go to the Nationals or whatever, and along the way you stop and you get a cold drink or you refuel or whatever, and you go to hop back in the car, you turn the key, you push the starter button, and all you hear is "rrr," and then nothing happens because it's so hot. Now, one of the secrets that I did Now, I heard an old timer tell me this, and I didn't believe it at first, but it actually turned out to be quite true. And so I reached out to a fellow I used to play squash with, who was an auto electrician, and he helped me. So what I did is the starter motor for the FJ Holden, so this is the Bosch starter motor, so from air ride onwards, 1953 onwards, for 6 volt, is the same, except for one or two crucial things, as the VW, the Volkswagen 6 volt starter motor. Now with a Holden, it has a 3 bolt pattern where it bolts onto the gearbox and it turns the flywheel, whereas the Volkswagen only has a 2 bolt pattern to hold the same outer shell onto the starting position. So what I had the auto electrician do was, because the Holden starter motor is a 2-brush unit to the commutator. So the commutator is the shaft that spins, so it gets 2 points of electricity to it. Whereas Robert Bosch, when they were building the Bosch starter motors, Holden ordered it with 2 contact points, 2 brushes. Volkswagen had 4. So with a Volkswagen, it's getting twice as much power to the commutator as what the FJ Holden does. So what I had them do is I went out and I bought a 6 volt Volkswagen starter motor, and I went and took that to Wynnum Auto Electrics, and I said to Logan there, Logan, here's my Holden starter motor with the 3 bolt pattern. I want you to take the commutator out of the Volkswagen and whatever guts is required out of it, and I would like you to put those internals inside the 6 volt FJ starter motor. He said, yeah, I know what to do. And Logan did that for me, and I must say that FJ of mine, that ute, it sounded a little different every time you turn the starter motor over. It was the same starter motor, it was Bosch starter motor, so it doesn't put you out of stock or anything like that. However, it doesn't fail. You can forget about the days of hit the key and it goes rrr, 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 or does nothing whatsoever. Those days are gone. You have twice as much power going to the commutator to turn that FJ or that FX over, and it really did not give me a moment's trouble. And I had that car, gee whiz, all up from 1981 through to 1989 with the 2-brush starter motor on it, and then from 89 to 2000, say, with the 4-brush arrangement on it, and it was much better. Now, just talking about electrics, and I'm conscious of the fact I've got a little bit more time. I just wanted to show you this. Now, if you're 6 volt, what this little arrangement can do, and you can see that, this box has probably been, taken apart and screwed to a firewall, then the box put back on. But it allows a 6 volt battery to power a 12 volt appliance. So as you can see, 6 volt input, 6 volt, 12 volt output. So this is a terrific little idea to allow you to run 12 volt DC from a 6 volt battery. Now, when I first got mine, the panel beating shop who had the ute, Horst Effenberger, he had it with an 8 volt battery in there, and it would just run 12 volt. But having 8 volt is too much drama. The regulator box is all adjusted and all those sorts of things, and I'm one of those people who don't like complicated in my life. So it's a case of I was really glad to go straight back to 6 volt when the opportunity arose. So if you want to run 12 volt in your 6 volt FJ, this is a really good alternative. I found this on an auction website and I was able to get it. Now, it is quite heavy. It was about $25, but this will allow you to, if you wanted to get a 12 volt Bluetooth radio and put in there, and have the little microphone for your phone and all that sort of thing. It just opens up a whole new world for you. But it's pretty simple. It even tells you, as far as instructions are concerned, what's input, what's output, and it's earth, and it's pretty simple. So look, that just gives you a quick hit as far as the electrics are on a 6 volt. We've talked about the power cables. We've talked about the earthing cables and what you can do with them, but we've talked about the starter motor and also the handy little 6 volt, 12 volt converters. So please remember to subscribe, share with your friends, and enjoy your Holden.